when you're in a conversation with somebody and you don't agree with them about how they see the world, their political views, maybe even their religious views, do you find yourself leaning in and being really curious, asking more questions? Or are you superhuman and you find yourself doing more likely one of these two things? Do you completely withdraw, basically like, I'm not going to engage, I'm not going to say anything, and you find yourself shutting down? Or maybe you find yourself getting really heated, saying things that you kind of later on regret. If you live in a country or a place where politics have become really heated and you're not really sure how to navigate day-to-day conversation, either with neighbors or with friends or with people that you like really love and engage with all the time, like co-workers or close friends. Hi, first of all. Welcome to planet Earth. We are living in probably one of the most politically hotbed moments, I think, ever. Quite possibly ever, because of the things that have been introduced, like social media. This video is not about all the things that have been introduced and why we all feel so overwhelmed. This video is to help give you tools so that you understand and you know how to navigate conversations that may feel a little bit hairy, given the current political situation a lot of ourselves find ourselves in. I am somebody who's South African. I'm currently based in Mexico. I also pay taxes in the United States, so I know really, really well what it's like to live in a super polarized society. I'm speaking specifically about the United States, right? And actually made a whole video about why I left the US. So if you're interested, it's linked below in the description. But in this video, I'm here to give you tools, and I hope that this is really useful because this is something so many of us are living with day to day. It's not just on Thanksgiving, it's every day. You go to the post office and you find yourself in a conversation with somebody that gets you really hot and bothered. What do? Are you going to fight? Like say things that you don't want to say and become somebody you don't want to become? Or are you going to disengage and then later on regret that you didn't say what you know you believe or what you want to stand up for? This video is for you. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to Love on Stage. I'm Magogodi. If you're ready to make sales and spark action when you speak, this is your place. I've helped dozens of leaders choose courage over comfort by speaking with confidence and love, especially in tough conversations. Because listen, public speaking isn't just a thing that you do on stage. It's what you do every time you deliver a work presentation, when you interview for that plump job you deserve, when you negotiate your salary, and every time you sweat bullets during a big pitch. That's all public speaking. It's time to level up your storytelling because your story matters. So, you ready to speak like a boss? Let's get into your most powerful story. We just recently celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Day 2025, and the United States inaugurated its president on the same day. That's clearly not by mistake. These things are very strategic and they're planned. So if you're anything like me, it was a moment of really feeling a lot of like whiplash, like what's really going on. And I want to begin this conversation by just being really clear with you and honest with you. I voted for President Kamala, okay? That was my presidential candidate. I am not at all a big fan of the sitting current person in charge in America. And I'm not here to debate with you who you should support, who you shouldn't support, but I am here to say we are living in a time that is complicated. I'm also here to say that it doesn't have to be this way, like our inability to meet each other and have common ground when we don't necessarily believe in the same political views. This is something that is so supercharged over the last, I'd say 8+ years. And there are definitely tools for us to do better. Quite recently, I was in Florida. I get into an Uber. Florida is MAGA country. We begin having this cordial conversation, small talk, nice things. The lady is really lovely who's driving this Uber. I'm with my family. I'm very protective whenever I'm with my family. And I'm not sure how, but the conversation veers towards politics. To be really honest with you, I got quite nervous because I understand Florida, a lot of people voted for a president that I don't believe in and a president who does not share my personal values. So I was concerned that that's where we were going, that we were going to have a conversation that was quite contested, right? To my surprise, this particular Uber driver did something that I was just literally in the back seat taking notes because she was so skillful and smart. She expressed her own views of who she voted for. It turns out that she supported the same candidates that I voted for, right? President-elect Kamala Harris. And she just laid it out on the table. I found it so refreshing and so unusual. In America, one of the first things I learned when I first moved to the country is a big no-no is people do not talk about politics. People hardly ever, people who you know so deep, people who you swear up and down are like your best friend. They won't even tell you who they voted for, right? That's the code in America. The same way that people try to not mix religion in their place of work, there's usually a pretty hard line about like, we do not talk about politics. So I found it so fascinating that this woman is at work and she doesn't know me that well and she's willing to talk about this really vulnerable thing, and she put herself out there without knowing anything about me, without knowing anything about my family. My family was traveling with me at the time, and it was this beautiful lesson of something so important that I want to share with you. Be honest. When you're having conversations with people, and especially when you start approaching things where you're like, it's possible that this person may not agree with me, just trust that your honesty is going to allow you to have a more substantive and honest and real and raw and human conversation than if you pretend, or if you withdraw, or if you become somebody that you're not so proud of later on, right? This woman taught me not only is it a healthy thing to do in public to be honest. Quite frankly, it is a public service, right? If more of us could be honest about where we are and how we see the world and what our values are, we're not going to convert each other, and I'm not interested in that at all. I will never tell you go out there and proselytize other people, and I'm not in that business either. I kind of find that like sickening. It's not right. Like, don't try to convince other people that the way that they believe is not the right way. Instead, can you be curious? Can you lean in to curiosity over judging and over conversion? So curiosity over conversion. Can you ask questions? Can you try to understand? Please tell me more. Like, why do you see it that way? Please. I didn't vote for that particular candidate, but what is it that inspired you towards saying yes to this particular person, right? And those have been some of the richest conversations that I've had, not because they told me something that made me change my mind, or I said something that made them be like, oh my God, I'm totally gonna vote for somebody else. No, because we gave each other opportunity to see each other more as just human beings and to be curious about one another and, quite frankly, to empathize with one another, right? I think one of the things that's broken about our society is we so quickly push other people off to the side and we say, this person believes in this, therefore I wash my hands, I'm not interested, this is not my kind of person. Most human beings will probably be folks who you disagree with on something. Sometimes it's really big things, right? And sometimes it's small things. How do you come to common ground when you're not dictating how everybody else sees the world? This woman, again, she really helped me understand the value of, she showed me in real time, like, no, actually, you can trust other people by being honest with where you are. And then again, the thing that I've practiced for many, many years and that I want to share with you is practicing curiosity over conversion. Stop trying to convert other people. It's yucky when it's in religion. I think I need to do a whole piece about that, especially as an African, right? Who does not subscribe to a lot of religions that have been put on us as Africans. It's yucky. Don't convert people. And the final thing I'll say, And this is definitely something I'm going to hold on to over the next 4 years, because again, I don't necessarily agree with most things that this president believes in or stands for at a deep values level. I am so here for the 97% of Black women who voted for Kamala Harris. And not only am I here for them, but I am here for an expression of joy inside of that sisterhood, inside of that sanctity, that circle. I'm not saying other people aren't invited to my particular iteration of what that joy is, that Black joy, but I am saying for me, for the next 4 years, one of my priorities is protecting that type of joy, that type of space, serving people who also are in that space, and then being really clear, like nobody else gets to take my joy. I'm sorry, you just don't, right? And we can have conversations that feel difficult, that feel emotionally charged, without me turning into somebody that I'm not proud of later on, and without me feeling like I need to withdraw, right? And check out and not express my full self. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to be all of myself. But at the same time, like, I am going to remain joyful, okay? And in that spirit of remaining joyful, of remaining in the sisterhood, there is a brilliant woman. Her name is Anne Malika Tubbs. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. She wrote a book. It's called The Three Mothers. It's about the mothers of Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and James Baldwin. I have chills. You can't see it, but let me tell you, the chills are real, okay? And it's warm in Mexico. I have so much chills and respect and love for this particular book, for that beautiful offering, that work, right? And how much it sees us, how much it brings the center back to these particular women who birthed movements, and also to the center of like Black girl joy. And I want to point you both to the book, but also to the essay that she published on Instagram on the day of the inauguration, and just her beautiful way of reshifting the focus away from some of the emotions and some of the things that the whiplash that you might have felt, being like, why, like, wait a minute, we're celebrating what, on who, like, wait, what? If you felt any of that, go and find this particular essay that she put out on Instagram, and I promise you it will just recenter you and help you feel again like, okay, Zen, I'm back, I'm coming back. And it will remind you the power of our joy and what it means to be alive and to create and to offer things that are worthy of the next 4 years and beyond these next 4 years, when we are centered in joy, when we are centered in curiosity, and when we are honest about who we are, what we stand for, and whose we are, who our ancestors came before us, and why it matters for us to stand up and tell the truth always. I hope this video has been useful to you. I would love to know in comments, which one are you? Are you the kind of person who withdraws completely from a conversation like this? Or are you the kind of person who gets supercharged, like just opens your mouth and things come out, and then later on you're like, I can't believe I said those things. Either way, I want to hear from you. Please drop me a note in comments. I want to acknowledge you for being here. There's so many new subscribers. Like, I'm gonna do a whole dedicated video on that, because it's just the level of love and outpouring. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching these videos. I really don't think you know the extent to which you're blessing me just by being here, by subscribing, by liking. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, thank you. Like, from the bottom of my heart. I will see you on Tuesday or Thursday at noon. That's when new episodes drop. Bye. Was that useful? You want to go even deeper? I'd love to support you. My coaching program can help you make money and spark action whenever you speak with intention. Book time to chat using the link in the description box below. Also, leave a comment if this video offered something you needed to hear today, or if you have a question you want me to unpack in next week's episode. Fresh episodes drop every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Hit subscribe to get a notification so you never miss a beat. Thank you so much for being here. I want you to know that your story matters. And I'm here to help you stand out from the stage to the page.